Sometimes the path to healing begins with the very thing that once brought pain. This is the story of Israel in the wilderness. A people who had seen seas split and empires fall for their sake now found themselves face to face with death, not by armies, but by serpents slithering in the desert night due to their disobedience. They were a people born in chains. Generation after generation, the Israelites groaned under the cruel weight of Egyptian slavery. But the Lord heard their cries. With a mighty hand, he broke the power of Pharaoh. 10 plagues shook the empire of Egypt. Waters turned to blood. Darkness covered the land, and the firstborn of Egypt fell. They saw the raw, mighty hand of God in display for their sake, and how the Lord delivered them with power no chains could withstand. Through the wilderness, he carried them, toward the land he had promised long ago, a land flowing with milk and honey. But the journey was not just about reaching the promise. It was about shaping their hearts to trust the God who saved them. Despite all the miracles and deliverance he displayed among them, they forgot his omnipotence. They forgot how he parted the Red Sea for them to walk on dry ground. And instead of them to think about his goodness, they yearn and cry for food of slavery. In the wilderness, their hearts grew weary. In the wilderness, they lacked no food, for God has made it his duties to supply them manna. Nevertheless, the craved for the taste of those food they left in slavery, and therefore provoking God with their complaints. And they murmured against God. They turned against Moses. "Why have you brought us here? Why lead us out of Egypt, just to die in this barren land?" they said. The same people who had seen the Red Sea parted now doubted the God who had delivered them. The people of Israel had seen the hand of God move mightily, plagues that broke Egypt's pride, seas that split in two, manna that fell like rain from heaven. Yet instead of thanksgiving, their mouths were filled with complaint. Day after day, they grumbled against Moses. They spoke against God himself. "We are tired of this food. We are weary of this journey. Why did you bring us here, just to die in this wilderness?" Their words dripped with rebellion. Their hearts rejected the very one who had saved them. And God, grieved by their ingratitude, allowed judgment to fall. The ground seemed to hiss with his answer. Venomous serpents slithered into their midst. With fiery bites they struck down the proud, the bitter, the ungrateful. Cries of pain filled the camp as the sting of judgment spread from tent to tent. God had not abandoned them, but he would not allow rebellion to go unchallenged. Their suffering was a mirror, reflecting back the poison that had already been growing in their hearts. Their words were poison. Their hearts turned from the very one who had rescued them, and God, grieved by their rebellion, allowed judgment to come. The desert floor began to hiss. Venomous serpents slithered into the camp, striking without mercy. Their bites burned like fire. Children cried out. Fathers collapsed. Mothers gasped for breath as venom spread through their veins. Moses, tired, weary, yet faithful, fell to his knees and interceded, and God answered, but not as they expected. The Lord said to Moses, Make a serpent of bronze. Lift it high on a pole. Whoever looks upon it shall live." So Moses obeyed. Bronze was placed in the fire. The hammer struck again and again, sparks leaping into the desert night. And when the work was done, Moses raised it high, above the tents, above the cries, above the fear. A bronze serpent, lifted on a pole, the very image of what brought death, now became the symbol of life. The people of Israel found it difficult to believe because the process doesn't add up to healing in their calculation. But then the miracles begin when some childishly believes and look up to the hung snake, and they begin to receive their healing. Across the camp, hope spread like dawn. The dying lived. The broken were healed, not by medicine, not by running, not by striving, but by one act of faith. They looked, and they were all healed. Those who looked at the serpent lived, and those who look to the cross shall never die. Centuries later, another night carried this mystery forward. Jesus said to Nicodemus, "As Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, so must the Son of Man be lifted up, that whoever believes in him may have eternal life." The bronze serpent was only a shadow. The true fulfillment stood on a hill called Calvary. Therefore, not bronze but flesh was lifted high. Not the image of sin, but the sin-bearer himself. And once again, the cure for death was not striving, not earning, not perfection, but a look of faith, a trust in the perfect work of Christ on the cross. So hear this: when sin bites deep, when shame burns in your soul, when guilt poisons your heart, you don't have to die in the wilderness of your sin. Lift your eyes, look to the one who was lifted up for you. The cross still stands, and the promise remains the same. Those who looked at the serpent lived, and those who look to the cross shall never die.